Using AI to skip the work? Bro, the entire purpose of every technology that's ever been invented is to skip work. How about RFK? You want to teach that guy to sing? You want to tell me it's a learned skill? The RFK can learn to sing, y'all. I can sing about anti-vaccines and food colorings. Okay, so here's the model. This is what it looks like. Like, actually using AI, actually using these fucking tools. Looks like the fucking scene from It's Sunny, where he's got the fucking strings in the pictures and he's smoking the cigarette and he's, yeah, it'll drive you insane. Normal people ain't fucking using this shit, dude. It's fucking insanity. This is just people not understanding how this technology works. Because that's essentially what you're using on those websites, a template. You would never consider someone using a template to create an avatar or art a threat to a real artist. Why would you consider a template for AI the same? You're not working in the industry. You're not an artist. You got a Twitter profile with the word comms open behind your name. Ooh, I'm an artist. I got a Fiverr account. Shut the fuck up. AI, just like being an actual artist, requires work. The people complaining about it is because AI is going to take their easy job away. Their easy quote-unquote job away they have online, where they've been able to trick fucking idiots into believing that they're fucking artist so that they'll pay them to make generic slop in the style of stuff that already exists because they can't create anything fucking original. That's the truth about AI. You can cry about it all you want online. Cry about it until you're blue in the fucking face. It's happening. And there is nothing you can do to stop it. I was having a conversation. Argument, if you will. Online. About AI. So we're going to go over that real quick while I hack and slash people here.
I fight for the light.
Before I start. Jesus. Let me scroll back to the beginning of this thing. Started out pretty friendly. In fact, it started with this video. Let me get the video pulled up. And we'll watch that real quick. Because that's what triggered this. And I think I have a pretty rational, realistic take on AI. But I feel like when AI comes up, it's like this boogeyman. And people just become completely fucking irrational and freak out about it. When I look at it and I see the same process we go through every time new scary technology come out. Okay? Maybe it's because you guys are young. Maybe the people I'm arguing with are young. And this is their first time experiencing this process, and it's scary. But I'm old enough to remember that we've been through this process multiple times. Like, multiple times. I remember back in the day when everybody had landlines. And the idea of like a mobile phone was this like crazy idea. Then they found a way to make mobile phones, or to make phones mobile before the cell phone. This came in the form of being something only rich people could have. The girl I dated in high school back then, yeah, I know I'm showing my age now, but the girl I dated in high school back then, her dad was a lawyer. So they had money. They had a good deal of money. They were big fish in our little small town pond. One of the, richer guys there. And he bought a new car, and this was a luxury vehicle. I mean, a fancy fucking car. Had its nice leather seats. It was one of the first cars to have the butt warmers. Ooh, that was blowing everybody's mind. But the real thing that like had everybody oohing and awing over it is it was one of the first cars to have a phone in it. Right there in the console, between the two seats, was a leather bag. And what was in that leather bag? Right there between those two seats? You unzip the bag, you open it up, and it had a phone in it. Not a cell phone, a landline phone. It was like the one you pick up and hold your head and blah, blah. It was that. No caller ID, no apps, no nothing. It was just a regular fucking office phone in the car in a bag. And that was the big selling point of this vehicle and why it was so expensive. And people picked on this girl at high school because she had the dad that had the phone, and he had a real long cord on it, so he'd be waiting to pick her up from school in ninth grade, and he'd be parked out front of the school, standing next to his car, this long cord coming out the car and this phone to his ear, and everybody's like, is this motherfucker on the phone? Not at his house? It blew everyone's mind. Everyone was all like, look at this motherfucker. Yeah, just acting like he's so important he can't wait till he gets home to take calls. Fast forward to 2025. No one goes home to take a call anymore. And you don't have to be rich to take your phone calls with you. They give phones to homeless people now. Phones that can do infinitely more things than the phone in his car. But when cell phones first came out, people pushed back against them. We went through this process. That it was dangerous, distract drivers, people would become disconnected, blah, 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 all of these things. They'll ruin society. We went through all these arguments then. That the phone was more intimate when it was at home. You needed to be there. I remember these conversations. Fox News did pieces on them, as they always do, because they hate progress. And it didn't matter. No one has a landline anymore. There were companies that tried to keep the landline on life support and tell you how much more you needed it and how much more reliable it was. And the big pushing point for that was if you place a call on your landline phone, 911 will know where the call came from. You won't have to tell them your location. So in the event of it, yeah, like that became their big fucking selling point. Sprint went all in on this. You guys remember Sprint? Are you old enough to remember Sprint? They were one of the first phone companies. They were a big deal. They're bankrupt now. Other phone companies embraced cell phones and the iPhone and moving forward with technology. They tried to say it was a fad. But the iPhone was unreliable, it's glitchy, it freezes, you need a phone you can depend on in case of an emergency. That was a big fucking selling point. They're fucking bankrupt now. They rejected progress and they got left behind. It happened again with VHS versus DVD. Then it happened with DVD versus Blu-ray. It happened in the movie industry. I remember, since we're talking about AI and art and whatnot, I remember all the artists back in the day. I think one of the first Disney movies to incorporate some kind of CG into the movie was The Lion King. Now, it had one scene that was CG. The rest of it was their normal hand-drawn cell, draw it one cell at a time kind of animation. That animation style. But the scene where Mufasa dies in the stampede. The stampede coming down the mountain. Running, coming down into that fucking valley. That wide shot seen from like the aerial view that had just hundreds upon hundreds of those stampeding animals running through there. That was CG. They used CG models for that stampede. There was a whole like behind the scenes thing on it because it was so revolutionary at the time. I remember it. And then they were saying how, well, we made this stampeding horde with this computer program, and then we animated the wires to make them move and we pathed them out. They created an kind of a primitive AI, if you will, that would run through the valley, detect where the rock was, detect anything in their path so they didn't run over top of each other. And that's how they would spread around the rock and go, and not kind of like flowing water, but with buffalo. And then they animated Mufasa and Simba falling into it. And then the scene after that and everything else was the normal kind of animation. But that threw up a red flag for everybody. Oh, it's going to be the end of animators, they said. Oh, they're just going to make all the art on computers now. These animators are going to be out of jobs, they said, as they freaked out about it. And they were kind of right. Just like you guys are probably kind of right about AI. There are some people who are going to lose jobs. But it's not the way you think. It's not replacing people. It's replacing jobs. You're thinking about it wrong. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but you have to remove the human element. Stop thinking about the individuals working on it. AI isn't there to replace people. It's there to replace jobs. Just like CG wasn't there to replace people and art. It was there to replace jobs. The job of hand drawing each frame of animation no longer existed. But that job it replaced with a new job. And that new job was animating them with a computer program. That new job that AI is going to replace, it's going to replace the job that some artists have right now with a new job that incorporates that AI as a tool that people will use. Just like CG is a tool that people used. So the same thing when green screens came out. I remember that. I can remember Star Trek Season 1 of the Next Gen where they started using the green screens. And it was terrible. Go back and watch Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1. It's the only season they tried to use it. Every time they go to a new planet, it's got a terrible CG. Like, you can tell it's built on a small set so that they have something to walk on and interact with, and everything else was a green screen, and it has a terrible sky and terrible effects, and they tried to do it before it was ready, and it looked awful. And every season after that, they went back to the old way of actually building physical sets and that people walked around on that looked more realistic. Fast forward to 2025, Wakanda is entirely CG, and it looks pretty fucking realistic. They didn't have to build Wakanda for these, or Thanos' planet, or Guardians of the Galaxy ship, or many of the other places they go. They don't have to build all of that stuff physically now. That got replaced with green screens. Oh, but what about the set designers? And what about all the people who make that stuff? They're going to be out of a job. Their job got replaced with a new job. They still build those sets. They just don't do it physically with their hands like carpenters. They now do it on a computer digitally. And those who didn't want to learn how to create those sets digitally, yeah, they've lost their jobs. Some jobs are going to be lost, but it's not because the technology is a threat. Those jobs are lost because people refuse to adapt with that technology. And that's how progress works. You're either on board or you're not. And if you're not on board, you get left behind. That's human nature. We have been doing that since the dawn of man. That has separated us from animals. I can bet you right now, thousands of years ago, there were motherfuckers in caves. And then one motherfucker in those caves found fire. And he started using that new tool, that fire, to cook his food and to keep him warm. And there were probably motherfuckers in caves who were scared of that fire. And they didn't use it. They ate raw food and they got sick. And they froze to death in their cave because they didn't want to keep warm. The fire was scary. Those people got left behind. Now, back in the day, it was adapt or die. That was human nature. You don't die if you don't adapt in the modern world. So I think we've come a long way. But your career will. Your career is what dies if you don't adapt now. You still get to live because we live in a society. Back then, there was no society. And then that motherfucker with this fire in his cave, some guy in the cave next to him was sitting by his fire board and made a wheel. And then he put that wheel next to another wheel with a stick and created a vehicle. Now I don't have to stay in the cave anymore. I can go explore the unknown. Oh, but exploring the unknown is scary. It's safer in my cave. I'm going to stay here. So those who didn't get on board this new wheeled vehicle this caveman made so that he could venture outside his cave, they got left behind and they stayed in their cave. That's literally how humans work. You're either on board with progress or you are literally left behind by it. Every new technology that has come up since the dawn of man has gone through this process, where there's a section of the people who just reject change, be them ignorant or stubborn or stupid, whatever the reason, or just scared. Well, they get left behind in some shape, form, or fashion. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to live in a world. I'll show you what that world looks like. And tell me if you want to live in this world. This world where the progress of humanity is halted by the fear of that progress. Or because we didn't want people to lose jobs. We kept jobs that shouldn't be needed. Because if we progress past those jobs, we kept jobs simply because we didn't want people to get fired. We halted progress for those people. But then they're going to get old and die one day. And now you've got a whole new generation of people still in those same jobs that wouldn't be there if you had progressed. And you see that right now. People can die from this. Does what I'm talking about sound familiar? I'm not even talking about AI right now. Does it sound familiar? It's happening in current day. You young kids should be able to get this one. They're called anti-vaxxers. They're stopping the progress of medical science that could literally save their lives. Because vaccines, needles, scary. They don't understand the science behind the liquid that's in that little needle. And it scares them. So instead of looking at the science and studying it and trying to figure out what's in it, they say, oh, well, I took the vaccine and it made me feel bad, so therefore a vaccine must be bad. We should not take vaccines. If they learned how vaccines work, they would know that that's the human body doing its job. When you get sick, your body fights off the illness and develops an immunity to it. A vaccine is basically a very weak form of a much greater illness. It's injected into your body in a weak form that your body can build an immunity to and fight off, instead of getting the full-blown illness. So yes, by design, vaccines probably will make you feel bad for a little while after you take them. That's the point. But instead of learning that science and how that works, they reject them because they're scared of them. Anti-vaxxers are so retarded? Yeah, but it's the exact same process with anti-vaxxers that's leading to the anti-AI people. That led to the anti-CGI people, to the CGI replaced animators, CGI replaced people who made animatronics. We can make a dinosaur with CG now that looks pretty fucking realistic. We don't need to build a 50-foot tall robotic dinosaur that a team of people have to move with levers to make it look like a real dinosaur like they did in Jurassic Park. We don't have to do that anymore. And with CG, we don't have to actually destroy buildings or property anymore to get those special effects in movies. Oh, but all the demolitions experts have lost their jobs now. We don't need pilots flying planes to make them do dangerous stunts. It's safer to do it in CG. Because we don't have to risk human lives to make those scenes where planes fight each other in the sky and fly really close to each other and blow each other up. We don't have to physically film stunt pilots doing this. Oh, but all those stunt pilots lost their jobs. Yeah. Yeah. Remember a few years ago? Because you go, well, how would a stunt pilot do that in CGI? Those two jobs aren't even related. Adapt or die, man. That's how it works. Remember a few years ago, the same thing happened with people who knew nothing about computers were losing their jobs to computers. And a hashtag started trending. And that hashtag was hashtag learn to code. They didn't want to fire those people. So, hey, here's your path forward. We don't want to fire you, but we don't need someone doing this job anymore. We have a better way. We want to give you the opportunity to learn that better way. Since you have all this experience with this job, we think you'll be great at it if you learn to use this new tool. How do I use the new tool? Well, you're going to have to learn to code. It requires computer code to do the tool instead of your physical hands building a thing now. Some of them did learn to code, and they kept their jobs. Some of them didn't, and they complained about it on Fox News. And what did all their complaints get them? What did all their crying get them? Unemployed. Those jobs didn't change because they whined about it. Ever called up a cable company and they still try to sell you landlines? Landlines aren't still a thing because the companies cried about it. Progress only moves in one direction, ladies and gentlemen. And you're either on board or you're not. So this conversation I had, this argument I had online, started with this video. It's a very small, short video. Wow, why is it not in the form of a short? That's weird. It's like a actual video. But anyway, here we go. I'll pull it up. It's entitled, We're So Cooked. We're so cooked, ladies and gentlemen. We're so cooked. Where's my... Okay, there we go. We're so cooked, ladies and gentlemen.
Just when you thought the AI slop couldn't get any worse, OpenAI just released the new Sora app, which is a social media platform for making purely AI-generated content. You basically just upload your voice and your likeness to insert yourself in videos, and suddenly you're part of the brain rot too. Now, their latest video model, Sora 2, is so scarily high quality that it's getting harder to tell what's even real anymore, and people are already using it to generate fake CCTV footage of you committing crimes. There's a bunch of fan-made anime episodes going around, and there's even a lot of gameplay clips that are pretty realistic. Like, the copyright infringement is just off the charts, but the worst part though is that the app is built like TikTok, you know, just a non-stop feed of AI videos maximizing ad revenue, and I hate that instead of getting the super intelligence that cures cancer, we're slowly being pushed into the endless AI slot machine. Like, the boomers and the kids that are growing up now are gonna get absolutely fried by this tech.
So quite a few problems with this. This is fear-mongering. He says it right in the beginning. They're scared. Here, I'll go to the... We'll just have this conversation as a conversation then, for the sake of the VOD, so you guys can leave comments and they can see them. There's not a whole lot of people in chat right now, but whatever. I'm having this monologue, I guess. There's a couple issues with that video, and that it starts out as fucking fear-mongering. It's scary, guys. It's scary. So if you pay attention to the video, or any of those AI videos like that that are so realistic, you'll notice some things that they try to hide with clever editing, but it's pretty obvious and why this won't be a big deal. There's several reasons why this isn't as scary or as big a problem as you think, some of which have already happened, but people just don't realize it or they don't fucking think about it. First of all, none of the clips he showed are longer than 5 seconds. Anyone who's actually used AI, and I have, I downloaded the AI open source model. I didn't use their pre-made app that restricts the things I can do with it, because that's how those apps work. You type in a prompt and all the behind the scenes stuff that edits, you know, how the model works, you'd never see. So you have very little control over the AI with those apps. They're meant to be just fun little, I typed in a thing and it gave me a thing. Ooh, look at that, that's cool. Yeah, but the problem with that is if you pay attention to those clips, none of those clips are longer than 5 seconds max. Very short clips. That's why he just boom, 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 randomly went from one to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. It can do this, and then it shows 5 seconds of a guy. So the CCTV footage is you grabbing something off a shelf and walking four steps, and then boom, footage is gone. Do you know why? AI falls apart if you try to make a video longer than 5 seconds. It just completely fucking shits the bed. The longer the AI has to generate the clip in motion, the further and further away from the reference point it's using it gets, and you'll actually see things morph over time to where if you make, I made a 30-second video. instead of a 5-second. And it was pretty believable for the first 5 seconds, but after that 5 seconds, it slowly, I used my wife's picture as a reference point, just had her doing a little dance, and it slowly morphed her from the beautiful black lady that she is into an Indian lady, and then into a white lady. Like, it just slowly, like, it loses sight of the reference it's supposed to be using the longer it has to go on, because it starts using itself as a reference to keep producing more frames. And if the reference from itself that it made that it's using is too far off from the original, just due to generative AI making mistakes and tweaks, then it gets further and further away from it. So it's not going to make these realistic videos of evidence of crimes that can actually be used in court. That's not a real threat. That's not fucking real. It's going to make 5 seconds that may raise an eyebrow, but anyone, like officers of the law, or someone, an investigator that looks into it for longer than 20 seconds is going to go, oh, this isn't real. Where's the rest of the footage? Well, let me go track down the rest of that footage. Oh, it doesn't exist? Oh, so this is AI. This is fake. Now, in the event that it does get too real for too long, because this technology will get better over time, true, the law will step in. They already have. Deep fake AI porn is illegal. It didn't used to be. And deep fake AI porn isn't even like the AI stuff we got now. That was just an algorithm that would replace the face of a person in porn with the face of someone you know. And it can be kind of convincing at times, but it was also very flawed. But some of it looked so convincing that people were losing their jobs over it and getting in trouble, and it was ruining their reputation, and it led to some lawsuits, and then the law outlawed it. We don't really have a problem with deep fake porn anymore. People understand when they're looking at a deep fake, like it's people got used to it. No one talks about deep fake porn anymore, do they? Do they? When was the last time you had that conversation? Exactly. We adapted to it and we moved on. It's still used, but not in that way anymore, and people can kind of tell. You can still kind of tell. It's going to be the same thing with this AI. The law may even make it a law that they have to label something as AI when it's made, or that there has to be a tool to counter the tool. So they may make it so that you have to provide a tool, if you're going to use AI as a company, to your users, that they can run a video through this tool, and this tool will detect if this video was made with AI or not. If the technology gets so advanced that that's what it can do, it can make believable looking videos, then you should be able to make a tool advanced enough to detect when generative AI was used to generate a frame in a video versus it being recorded naturally. Because those processes are going to be different on a coding level. The point is, we'll adapt to the technology and we'll get used to it, and then we'll move on. But I had some pretty mind-blowing conversations here. I don't like the term like AI slop, because it gives you this impression. Because you know, one of the guys in this thread was like, at this point, might as well just start mass producing AI slop, since no one seems to give a shit about any kind of integrity. That's another thing. It's immoral. Yeah, like they lean on the moral argument of AI. Any tool can be used for good and can be used for evil. But we don't blame the tool. We blame the person. We don't just give free reign to a tool to be used for evil because people don't have integrity. That's humans, man. A lot of humans just don't have integrity. We can go back to the caveman who invented the wheel. The wheel can be used to make a vehicle, and that vehicle can provide people with transportation and move goods and build a society. Or that wheel can be used to traffic humans and drugs and weapons, and it can be used for evil. Do we outlaw the wheel? Does that make sense to you? You don't outlaw the technology, you regulate it. We still have cars with wheels to this day, but it's illegal to traffic someone. It's illegal to drug traffic. It's illegal to weapon traffic. There are things you can't use that vehicle with its wheels for. We didn't blame the wheel. That's retarded. It's one thing to use AI to give you a better reference for what you want to do, and that's when I think it really does work as a tool. But AI being the final product is so wild to me, and the fact that people watch it and actively want to consume it. You know, people said the same thing about CG. People said the same thing about animation as a whole, back when that became a thing. Movies used to only be with real people. There was no such thing as a fictional cartoon character, a person that didn't really exist. We started movies with silent movies. And then it showed you the screen with what they said, and then they acted it out like this. And then we got audio and color. And then it was real people, and then eventually animation came along. The fact that people want to watch a movie that doesn't have any actual people in it, that's just drawings that move, is wild to me. What about the human element? This is the same shit in a different toilet. These are conversations where you can just mad lib remove AI and replace it with technology from the past, and you'll get the same conversations they had at that time. And yes, it's been made fun of in cartoons and stuff. That's one of the things the Flintstones did, was make fun of the wheel. Use only feet to go, which is why their cars are powered by people's feet instead of horses. Horses bad. Yeah, like that. We go through this over and over again. So I link a video, which if you guys want to see like the normie take on AI and how the normie take and the creator take, it's kind of encapsulated pretty well. It's an hour-long video. It's on Red Letter Media, one of my favorite YouTube channels. It's called the AI Apocalypse, where they just talk about AI for an hour. It's a topic they've been avoided, but it's very clear that they don't understand how AI works. So that's where the normie perspective comes in. They're just giving you how like the reaction normal people have to AI, because that's the reaction they have. But then after having that reaction, they take a step back and give the content creator perspective to AI and go, well, all the stuff we said, I can see how it could be used for this, this, and this. And then they start thinking about it as content creators and not just normal viewers. And you got to get to see those perspectives back to back as they rationalize it out and talk about it over that hour. And they kind of came to the conclusion I come to, that I think normal people come to, which is, you guys are kind of overblowing this thing. I don't think it's not going to bring about the end of humanity or the end of animation or the end of this or the end of that. Yeah, it is kind of just a tool. I can see how it could be used for this, isn't it? Yeah, and then they start to rationalize it out and how people react to it, and they realize it's not as big a deal as people think they are. But of course, I get pushback in this thread while talking about it, which is a lot of straw man arguments or a lot of just not understanding how progress works, which makes me think a lot of people in this thread I was having this argument with just were younger people who've never been through this cycle before, so they don't know what it looks like, and they're just trying to wrap their brain around it. So I don't think they're stupid. I don't think they're retarded. I don't blame them. When you're young and the first time you see society going through this cycle, which I've seen society go through several times since, it happened during the invention of the internet. Oh my God, the entire world freaked out over the invention of the internet. Remember Y2K? Everybody thought we were going to die. The internet was going to, the literal internet was going to bring on the end of humanity. They were selling end of the world kits, survival kits. People were buying tents to go live in. Like, it was insane. And then they did a countdown to the year 2000, to Y2K, because they thought that when the clocks hit 2000 and the years changed, that all the computers would freak out, everybody was going to die, and the internet was going to... Nothing happened. Nothing happened. They overblew the fuck out of that to the point that they scared themselves. So, he says, this guy says CGI and AI are different. Like, completely different. One actually takes the user to know that thing looks to know how that thing looks and how to make it look believable. One has had 500,000 nerds spewing images at it till it makes something coherent. The entire reason and thing they use to hype AI is to skip the work, skip paying the voice actors, skip paying skilled people to make things because you can get good enough for free. It's close enough. AI music is honestly the worst because prompt puppets, oh, I love their little buzzword terms too. Prompt puppets think that putting lyrics into a generator makes them an artist. All of the AI tools designed to assist and not just create the entirety of the outcome I'm fine with make sense. This type of prompt. See, the problem is they can't foresee a world where there are jobs around it creating a whole thing. Because those jobs don't exist yet, so they don't know, they can't wrap their head around it. There's several things wrong with this statement. Using AI to skip the work, bro. The entire purpose of every technology that's ever been invented is to skip work. Why did we make assembly lines and factories? So we could put hundreds of people out of jobs and have a machine skip the work and do it for you. Press a button and this assembly line will keep pumping out the product. I don't need 100 hands doing all the work to fill that product and to make the thing. Now a machine will do it. We skipped the work. Why did we make CGI? You want to bring it back to CGI? The one he says is different? Really? Is it that different? Why did we make CGI? Because building 50-foot tall, lifelike dinosaurs that are controlled by a team of animatronics is a lot of work. We can skip that cost and skip that work and have a small team of people make it on a computer. Is it really that different? That's why CG exists. The idea of skipping work and making life easier is the sole reason for 99% of progress. How can we make this more efficient, faster, and easier with less work involved for humanity? Because progress for humanity in the year 2025 or in the modern age isn't about survival, it's about convenience. We don't have trouble surviving anymore. Our society has advanced beyond the need to just stay alive. Now we need purpose. Now we need a way to keep that society functioning as efficiently as possible. And if we can make goods and make products and make things with less people faster, then that opens up more people in that society to do new jobs as new technologies are invented to make life even easier and even more convenient, and need new people to invent those things and to work those new technologies. See, the thing is, jobs do get replaced. Jobs do get taken away, but they're replaced with new jobs. And a lot of the younger people that I've been arguing with here can't wrap their head around the fact that these new jobs don't exist yet. So you can't, they can't answer that question. Oh, it's taking their jobs. What are they going to do? And you can't, get them to understand what they're going to do the new jobs. Or they're going to go do a different job and new people will do the new jobs. You are not going to replace voice actors with AI. New people, new voice actors will be born with unique voices. And that AI can only mimic a voice it's already heard. Well, what happens when a new voice comes along that's distinct and different the AI's never heard? Well, it can't mimic a voice it's never heard. So part of an AI voice actor's job that sets them apart because they have a good voice will be to train the AI. They still have jobs, they're just different jobs. And this idea that anyone can do it? This idea that human talent is obsolete. Look, there are some things that humans do that are 100% talent based and cannot be taught. They can't. That's why they're called talent. Either you have that talent or you don't. Singing is a talent. You either have the voice for it or you don't. That's not a learned skill. Okay, no one is paying. You can pay for millions of dollars worth of voice training. But at the end of all that training and learning to sing and blah, 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 at the end of all that, Gilbert Gottfried will still sound like Gilbert fucking Gottfried. And no one wants to hear him sing. Okay, what, you need a more modern day example? How about RFK? You want to teach that guy to sing? You want to tell me it's a learned skill? The RFK can learn to sing, y'all. I can sing about anti-vaccines and food colorings. How about I learn to rap? You guys want to listen to that? You're not changing that. He can't learn not to do that. That's not a learned skill. And he can train all the AI he wants, but they're not going to fix that voice. No one's using the RFK AI voice, man. The jobs are going to change. Sure. But the humans are still going to be required. AI is not replacing humans. It's never going to happen. Even if AI gets very, very realistic, which it might, at the end of the day, AI still lacks the one thing that makes humans human. And AI will never be able to do this thing, which is why it will never replace people. AI cannot create something completely original that doesn't reference something from the past. It cannot create a new art style or a new sound, a new genre of music. It can blend past genres and create a mashup. It can blend past art to create something kind of different, but it's still referencing past styles. Humans have the ability to be original, have the ability to be creative. AI does not. AI only knows the information it's been fed. And if it's been fed that information, it's not being creative and making something new. It's using things that were already created to recreate them as something different. Different does not equal new, by the way. There's a reason why fleshlights haven't replaced human women. Thank you. Exactly. These tools were designed to reduce the cost of materials. Instead of buying $500 worth of art supplies a year, you can buy an art program and a tablet one time for $500 that'll last you 5 years. Same with things like AutoCAD and 3D software. Yeah, that's the idea of progress. See, that's what gets me, is these guys will accurately describe that they understand the process. But then when you insert AI into that process, they can't wrap their head around it, because he accurately describes me the process right there on why progress exists, on why humanity takes the progress to go anywhere, and then follows it up with AI isn't reducing the cost, it's cutting people out of the equation entirely. It doesn't take skill to draw this character in a Disney style, and it just happens, or makes a rap song, and it just happens. That's not how AI works. This is clearly someone who doesn't understand how the AI technology works. Even if it progresses to the point where it can do stuff, it's not going to do it on its own. It still needs people to guide it. Somebody still has to put in the prompt. Somebody still has to have the idea to feed to that AI to have it turn that idea into something usable. And maybe the AI turns it into something usable on its own. More than likely, it's always going to be a little bit off, and then that human's going to be needed to refine the thing that came out the other side. That's just always going to be the case. There was no human involvement in the process. There was human involvement, though. Somebody typed the prompt. Somebody worked the AI to make it produce the thing. It didn't do it completely on its own. It's not autonomous. It's not self-aware. It's not doing anything on its own. There's still a human guiding it. And as long as humans are needed to do that, then there'll be jobs. Being an artist will... Part of that in the future might involve understanding how to manipulate that AI to get a good base or to get something usable, and then tweaking it and making it your own. Yeah, it's a tool. Just like humans had to learn how to use AutoCAD and 3D software, and people had to learn how to work those tablets and all that. It's the same shit, different toilet. Like, I can't believe they don't wrap their head around it. And here's where they start just getting insulting. As I challenge one of them because they say how easy it is. This is where they talk about how easy it is. You can go online and find things that look real enough right now, because I challenged them to make their own. I said, dude, if it's so easy, anyone can do it. And that's why it's threatening jobs. You don't need to hire people to do this. Literally anyone can do it. You know, you can just hire an intern to do it for free or something. You know, somebody's still got to type it, but you can just type something and it'll produce something useful. If it's so easy, go do it right now. Show me. Make something usable with AI. I challenge you. I challenge anyone watching this video. Go make something usable with AI using only a text prompt. Don't edit it yourself. Don't manipulate the AI. Just type in the text prompt and let it pump out something usable, because it's so easy, right? Now, I tested this theory myself after my last video. I downloaded the open source. I didn't go to websites that, you know, you type in a prompt and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes and you're given limited models to work with that go with a predefined parameter, so they're going to give you like a set thing. I wanted to make what I wanted to make. I wanted to make something specific, because that's how it's going to work. They're going to want something specific, not the generic AI slop you can get from these websites. So I downloaded the tools. Now, the tools needed to make AI videos and to make AI images are open source. They cost nothing. Because the other argument there was, well, all that stuff costs money. No, it doesn't. It costs time. See, the thing you're paying for, what you don't understand is the thing you're paying for is convenience when you pay for those. You're not paying for the tool. You're paying for the convenience of have them doing all of the work behind the scenes to configure the AI for you, so that it'll produce something similar to what you want. But if you want something very specific, well, it's not going to make that on those websites. You're never going to get that, because you can't tweak all those AI settings yourself. They're locked. You're just typing in a text prompt and picking a predefined model. If you wanted something very specific, well, now you have to download the tool yourself and learn to use it, which I did. And you're paying for the convenience of getting it faster, because they have server farms that can render those images and those videos in minutes. I have one computer with one GPU, like a normal person. So I downloaded Stable Diffusion, which is the open source image generation model. It's pretty robust, but it's not easy to use. So let me show you, so you guys understand what I'm talking about. This was for I also downloaded the video image generation model. Now, I downloaded WAN 2.2, which is the newest open source image generation model. It runs on Python. So I had to download Python, had to download this. Now, image generation, so much more complicated than video generation, so much more complicated than image generation. You have to download Python. It's going to eat up all the RAM on your computer. It's going to eat up all the processor on your computer. Just loading this is probably going to lag it, but I'm going to load it so I can show it. So I can show you what we're looking at here. It takes a minute to load, especially since I'm streaming from this computer at the same time. So if the stream starts to lag, I may not be able to actually show this off. It's very resource intensive. So I had to download Python. I had to download Python. I had to download a model, and you need a model for each individual aspect of the video you're trying to make. It's not like making an image where you can kind of set things. You need things in motion. You got to download everything. You want an explosion? You need an explosion model. All right. You want an explosion? You need an explosion model. You want a fast movement model? Well, then you got to download a model for that. You want a model for fighting, for martial arts? You need one for that. You need one for each individual aspect of the thing you're trying to make. So here you go. I'm going to show it to you. And you guys can see that this here, oh, it's still loading. How do I? No, it's, okay. All right. So here it is. And I downloaded kind of a predefined model where someone's done all the work of setting up the model for me, and I still had to learn to plug things in and how things work. But all right, I'm going to bring it up. All right, let's do, there we go. In fact, I'm just going to go full screen with this and talk over top of it because I'm going to need the full screen for it. Let's reset transformation on this. Let's go reset transformation. Okay, so here's the model. This is what it looks like. I've got all my resources at the top here. The CPU, the RAM. It's already using 72% of my RAM. It ain't doing nothing. GPU usage, VRAM usage, temperature. It gets hot. I got my base image I load in here. Got the models here. Another model here that I got to shift through. I got to put weight, height, scale, everything. Every individual aspect needs to be changed in order to make it do something very specific. And this green box here is where I would put my text prompt, and the red box here is where I put stuff I don't want it to do, such as deformed hands, things like that. Which you can see I've done some copy and pasting from people who knew what they were doing, and it's in Japanese. But yeah, I had to get a model for the lighting. There's a model for explosion, which I'm not using because there's no explosions in this. So that's why I would have to take this and make it active. See? VFX explosion. And so I got to make it do explosion. One for details. Cyberpunk, if you want a cyberpunk look or whatever the look is. It goes through 2 passes of these. Again with the lighting. High noise, low noise. A text encoder and how it reads the text. It gives... You got to make LoRa's. The more LoRa's you load, the longer it's going to take. Make sure to load your described LoRa's in the same sequence with the. It's all very detailed and very complicated. If you want to see how this whole thing looks, the entire process goes all the way out to here. Every single one of these boxes, and they connect with street. It looks like the shit from the fucking. Like, actually using AI, actually using these fucking tools. Looks like the fucking scene from It's Sunny, where he's got the fucking strings in the pictures and he's smoking the cigarette and he's, yeah, it'll drive you insane. Normal people ain't fucking using this shit, dude. Normal people ain't fucking using this shit. This ain't easy. I've been playing with this for over a month and I can barely make anything usable. I can get this bitch to move for 5 seconds in a realistic way, but I can't make her do what I want her to do. Like, I've tried different prompts where I wanted her to stand up and, oh shit, see, look at that. And you can connect shit to shit. Did I just, see, okay, I probably messed shit up. But it's not fucking happening, man. People are gonna need degrees in this shit. This is not going to a website and typing in a fucking prompt. Yes, you're going to get generic slop doing that, and it's always going to be with predefined shit. Because this is what it looks like behind the scenes on those websites. And all these fine-tuning things you would have to learn and do to make it do something specific that looks believable, like the AI quote-unquote slop you see on YouTube. That slop that looks realistic enough to get millions of views, they didn't go to some website .ai and type in a text prompt and get that. That's not how that fucking happened. They had to learn all of this, and a team of people made it. It was work. It was fucking work. This is work. And I'm making SD videos, 480. And even then I'm trying to upscale it. That's just the image resizer. And it takes me 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on the resolution of the image I loaded into it. This is a 1080p image. Depending on the image I loaded into it, to make 5 seconds of video. And even then, I can get this bitch to barely move. Like, she's just moving her arms up her hips and blah, blah. I can maybe get her to sit up on the couch. I've tried to make her sit up on the couch, then stand up and dance and make a funny face and do these realistic looking things or talk so I can see her mouth move. But I can only do 5 seconds of animation at a time, and it animates slowly to make it look realistic. If I animate it too fast, it falls apart. So to make it look realistic, I gotta animate her slow, which means I have to take a screenshot of the last frame of that 5-second video, reload it into this as my fucking reference image to generate the next 5 minutes and string them together to try to even make something usable. And even then, it falls apart past like 10 to 15 seconds. I can extend the life past 5 seconds a little bit, but it's just, I'm sorry, dude, this is insanity. This is insanity to call this something that's replacing humans when this is what it takes to make this work. It's fucking insanity. This is just people not understanding how this technology works, which is why I challenged them to go actually download the tools and try to make something convincing enough to fool someone. Something specific, not something generic, quote-unquote slop. That app that was shown in that video where you can download the app and you can type it in and it'll make a video, it's going to make 5 seconds of passable footage. It's not making content. Not like the AI slop channels on YouTube that make content. To make content channels like that, those are teams of Indians in India fucking hoarding away to mass produce this slop. They're working, man. Those are sweatshop workers that made that shit. Not people like you and me. If it was really that easy, everyone would already be doing it. Everyone would already be monetizing it and throwing up those videos online. And sure, there's channels like that pop up on YouTube every day, but they're not getting millions of views. The ones that are actually quality enough to trick people into viewing them and believe that it's a real trailer for a new Marvel movie, those were using what I just showed. Those were using the actual tools, not some website that's using a template. Because that's essentially what you're using on those websites, a template. You would never consider someone using a template to create an avatar or art a threat to a real artist. Why would you consider a template for AI the same? It's just people not understanding how this technology works. Because I just showed it to you. But sure, call me a prompt puppet. The prompt was the least of my worries in that tool, dude. The absolute least of my worries. It was the last step I had to do. Now, I posted an example of what I made with that tool in my Discord and on my Twitter if you guys want to see it. I made Willie Mac Show. It took hours to finally get Willie Mac Show. It was a side-by-side call between Willie Mac Show and Hassan Piker, kind of split screen. And it took me hours to figure out how to get them to break the border of their background, lean in, and kiss each other for half a second. I thought it'd be funny to make them kiss. And that took hours. It wasn't just type in a prompt. To make that look realistic and not like morph them or deform them and stuff, yeah, it's not easy. To actually make something realistically usable that can trick people. And the truth is, the people complaining about this, I want you to pay attention on Twitter, because then I get the ones where I started to tell them about themselves. I was like, first of all, you're not an artist. The people complaining about it aren't doing the job anyway. AI's not a threat to you. AI's not taking your job. You don't fucking have one. You're not working in the industry. You're not an artist. You got a Twitter profile with the word comms open behind your name. Ooh, I'm an artist. I got a Fiverr account. Shut the fuck up. You're not an artist. AI didn't take your job. It killed your dream. You're dreaming of being an artist, but you're too goddamn lazy to put the fucking work in. Which is why you have a Fiverr account. Which is why you have comms open behind your name. You wouldn't need to quickly cash in on what little skill you have fucking drawing stuff in a similar style to stuff you've already seen, which, by the way, is what AI does. You would be creating an original work, a bunch of original works, to create a fucking portfolio so you could go out and try to get a job at Disney and at an animation studio and at some place where you're actually going to be an artist for a fucking living. You'd be in fucking art school, not living at your mom's house because you dropped out of high school and spending all your fucking time on Reddit and Twitter. Fucking smoking pot, screaming about, I'm an artist! Shut the fuck up. You're not an artist. AI, just like being an actual artist, requires work. The people complaining about it is because AI is going to take their easy job away. Their easy quote-unquote job away they have online, where they've been able to trick fucking idiots into believing that they're fucking artists so that they'll pay them to make generic slop in the style of stuff that already exists because they can't create anything fucking original. AI's just doing what you do but better and faster and free. Those are the people who are threatened. The fucking grifters who aren't really working as artists to begin with. The people working at Disney, the hundreds upon hundreds of AI artists and animators who brought the Hulk to life, who created Wakanda, who make Pixar movies happen, they're not going anywhere. They're going to learn to use this new tool. And they're going to make better movies with it. You guys aren't mad because it's taking jobs. It's not taking you make this appeal to humanity argument about integrity and people and blah blah, when really the only people mad about it are the people who aren't threatened by it to begin with. You're just mad it's killing your dream. Because now you can't dream of being an artist without putting the work in. There is no easy path to anything worthwhile in life. You either put the work in and you make that shit happen, or you get left behind by the rest of society and you find yourself in your fucking 30s fucking working the same shit jobs you worked when you were 16 and 17 because you didn't go get an education, because you didn't go put in the work to better yourself, and now you're in your 30s working while you're wondering why you're still working at fucking AutoZone, smoking pot every day, struggling to make ends meet, and then you have to start stealing from your job in order to pay your bills and get caught by the police, and now, oh God, life's ruined, and all you did, because instead of going out and getting an education and bettering yourself and doing like the rest of us did, you sat around complaining about how everybody else was screwing you over. How everything's a scam. School's a scam, and this is a scam, and everybody's screwing me over, and this is just another way they're going to screw people over. Keep that doomer attitude. It's going to end you. It's going to find you homeless or behind bars. That's where that road ends. Get your fucking shit together. Stop whining about stuff you don't understand. Learn how the world around you works and better yourself. Or get left behind by those of us who are willing to embrace change. That's the truth about AI. You can cry about it all you want online. Cry about it until you're blue in the fucking face. It's happening. And there is nothing you can do to stop it. So you can either get on board and learn how this new thing works, just like, oh, this internet, whoa, boy, once this internet fad is over. Yeah, I remember those conversations back during Y2K, and those people either got on board or got laid off from their companies and left behind because all those companies went online. This is just the next version of that, man. Now, you can either learn from the people of the past, learn how our fucking society works, and get on board, or keep doing your shit job until you die. You don't have a career. You have a job. And the world around you is going to become more expensive. And that shit job you have is going to start paying for less and less. And you can either get on board with that and get your shit together, get an education. It's never too late to go back to school. It's never too late to learn a new trade. You can go to trade school. It's never too late to learn a new skill and get a better job. So you can either put that work in, or you can sit at home, smoke pot, complain about it, and then steal from your job because your job's not paying enough, so you feel like you can justify stealing from them to pay your bills, and eventually get caught and go to jail or end up on house arrest or ruin your fucking life. Those are your options. That's where we're at. Because you all know that guy. You all know that guy. And if you don't know that guy, it's because you're too young. Don't worry, give it 10 years, you will know that guy. You'll know that guy who did nothing, who dropped out of high school, who refused education, who told everybody college was a scam, who acted like the world was screwing him over, who gets pulled over by the cops and it's never his fault. He wasn't speeding, the cops were after him, who acts like the world is against them, and then the world leaves them behind. And they end up addicted to a drug, struggling to survive, or in jail. If everyone knows that guy. And if you don't know that guy yet, it's because you're too young. Give it 10 years. Somebody you know is that guy. Right now. And in 10 to 15 years, they'll end up right where I said they are. No kids, no family, no future prospects, dead-end job, going nowhere, getting more depressed and smoking more pot or doing more meth or whatever drug of choice they have by the day until they ruin their life. Yeah. You want to talk about humanity, integrity? When the people fighting for AI are those people, those are the people you're defending. Where's your humanity, integrity? Why aren't you more worried about them bettering themselves and not ending up where they're at? Why aren't you telling them to go back to school and learn stuff? Why are we bitching at the AI? Because everybody wants somebody else to blame. So don't come at me with this humanity bullshit. Don't come at me with this, oh, we're better than this bullshit. That there's no integrity. Where's your integrity, bro? Huh? Where the fuck is your integrity? Why you become a Twitter warrior, smoke pot, and live at your mom's house. Childless and unemployed. Screaming at others to have integrity. You're barely a functioning member of society. You're going to scream at us about integrity. Us normal people who work jobs, who raise families, who put the work in, who finished school. Yeah, we're the bad guys. Because we came up with a new way to do something that's better than your way. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That'll really help. Most of these arguments are irrational. They pull up example of people losing their jobs and then point out that their jobs are replaced by new jobs as part of their argument. Literally, COD is an example. Call of Duty is an example of people losing jobs to AI in the art industry because Call of Duty started using AI art in their marketing, so they weren't hiring people to do that marketing anymore. They fire a bunch of people, then posted openings for AI specialists. Oh wait, so you mean they fired people from a job they no longer needed, and then posted job openings for new jobs they created? So that thing I said would happen literally happened in the example of you telling me it's bad that people lose jobs? No, they didn't lose their job. New jobs were created. Those people could learn to do those new jobs and still work there. They could become AI specialists and not artists. This isn't a firing, it's a change of job title. Yeah, it's progress. So even in your arguments against it, you just proved me right. AI being used by large corporations should be an issue in and of itself. It's obvious you never cared about the process or the people. It's just for the results. Spoken like a true prompt puppet. We already are on a minimalist kick for art and advertising. Look at things like Kroger or any of the logos for these companies. AI can do that easily. So all these jobs are gone. 10 to 20 people fired and 1 or 2 people will replace them. How is that good for the economy? Because new jobs are created around that. You literally gave the example in your last one where they fired the artist and posted job openings for AI specialists. And AI can't make logos as good. I dare you to Google Cracker Barrel new logo and see how that went. That was made with AI. Creativity is still a human talent. They're just going to use those tools to produce 50 to 100 logos for the company to choose from in the same amount of time it would have taken them to make one logo in the past. We're not replacing people, we're making them more efficient. It's very clear to me that you don't understand how AI works, how this process works when new technology is introduced to a field. And you're going to scream at me? You're going to fucking act like you care about all these people you've never met with jobs you're never going to get hired for because, again, you're too busy arguing with people on Twitter to finish school to actually go out and get these jobs. You're literally getting mad for people that you don't know, and you don't even know if they're losing their jobs or not. You don't know what the situation is. Why aren't those people speaking out? Where's all the people who lost their job at these companies? I always see people getting mad on their behalf. I know enough, and I tell them, you don't know anything about AI or the process. That's all I gathered from that. I know enough to know that people are screwed. That the reason they will be screwed is because people like you only care about the end product. Hey, spoiler alert, Chief. That's all anyone cares about. Sorry. End of the day, people are selfish. All people. As a whole. There's a few outliers, sure, but the average everyday person only cares about themselves. You don't believe me? How many times have they made documentaries about the process that's killing people to make diamonds? Blood diamonds. They're using slave labor. People still buy diamonds. They only care about the end product. They don't want to hear about the process. No one wants to see how the sausage is made, bro. Just make sure it tastes good. They did that shit with chicken nuggets at McDonald's. They made a whole fucking documentary about how chicken nuggets are made and how gross the process is. People literally said, I don't want to see that shit. Just make the nuggets, bro. Just make them taste good. I don't care how they're made. I just want to know that they taste good. Don't show me that gross shit. Yeah, people don't want to see it. Everybody only cares about the end product. The end product is what pushes progress forward. And in order to make the end product better, you make new processes. New processes create new jobs, and then new people will fill those jobs if the old ones won't learn how to do them. It's just about the finish line, and you don't care about who gets tripped up along the way. No, I don't. You're right. I don't care about who gets tripped up along the way or who gets left behind. If you're too fucking ignorant, stupid, or stubborn to move with progress, I don't want to hold back the progress of technology or humanity so that I can make those people who didn't want to progress feel better. Why should they hold the rest of us back? Should we stop making vaccines because the anti-vaxxers make it, blah, blah, blah? No. Fucking no. Those people can adapt or die like we've done for all of humanity. You're right, I don't care. And spoiler alert, most people don't. Not really. They'll virtue signal on Twitter like this asshole's doing. But they don't really fucking care. Yeah, but he goes on a rant. I'm not going to read the whole back and forth because we went back and forth for a while. He just keeps crying about the humanity and crying about blah, blah, blah. He just keeps virtue signaling. I keep telling him to prove me wrong. Go make something. Go download those tools and use them and make me something right now. It's so easy. You should be able to do it in a day. I'll give you 24 hours to make me something usable and believable and fucking realistic. Not something you did on a .ai website, but an actual product. Go make me something. I'll give you 24 hours. He dances around it and won't do it, and then he just kind of nopes out of the conversation, and that was the end of it. But, yeah, you guys get the idea. AI's not... Look, I'll bottom line this before I finish out this video. Thanks for hearing my rant, guys, but... AI's the boogeyman right now. I get it. But pay attention to the people fighting against it. 99% of those people are not artists, they don't work in the industry, and they've never used AI, they don't know how it works, they don't know how the industry works, they don't work in the industry. 99% of them have no fucking clue what they're talking about. They have no basis in reality for their arguments, it's all feels. And hearing that people got fired doesn't feel good. But that's life. If we're going to have a real honest conversation about this and be realistic for a minute, this is progress. People get fired, new jobs get created, And we rework our systems to accommodate that, and new jobs are created, and then we move forward to the next thing. You don't press 0 to call the operator anymore to place a phone call. That job no longer exists. It was replaced with a computer, and that woman went on to work a different job. And now jobs that maintain those computers and maintain all the other new features that come with the phones replaced it. I can do 100 examples of these. It's a tale as old as time. And AI is just the newest version of it. Now, to be fair, I will say that there are some concerns. They were brought up in that little short. That, yeah, you can eventually get to the point where you can make fake videos that could ruin someone's reputation, like deepfake porn did, which is why they made laws around it. Now they make deepfake crimes and deepfake blah, blah, blah to make it look like something. You could ruin relationships, you could ruin people's lives. But people will get sued. People will get in trouble for that. The law always lags behind the technology. True, that's probably going to happen for a while until the law catches up to it. But eventually the law will step in to keep this shit in check and to regulate it, and people will get used to it. And then all that stuff will die off, and it'll just become another tool we use until we create the next thing for people to panic over. Deepfakes aren't really an issue anymore. You don't hear anybody talking about them. There's deepfake websites. They've been outlawed. They can't operate, so people aren't paying for them anymore. Yeah, like the government stepped in to put deepfake stuff in check so people's lives aren't ruined with fake porn. And it'll do the same thing here. Humanity makes new stuff. That stuff gets used by bad people to do bad things. Good people step in to regulate it. Society adapts, and we move on. This is just the newest version of that. That's my hot take, but let me know in the comments how you guys feel. I'm sure this hot topic rant, this hot button issue, I have an unpopular opinion. I'm the boogeyman. I'm the bad guy because I'm pro AI, and I can see the potential in it, and I can see how society as a whole can adapt to it, not just artists, and how it can be used in medical research and in things outside of art, and how this is a great thing, and this is probably one of the best advancements in humankind in a long time, and I see the just limitless potential of it, and I don't want to see that stifled because a few fucking Twitter artists lost their jobs and can't put comms open, can't make money with the comms open behind their name anymore. Sorry, your art job isn't worth holding all of humanity back. But let me know how wrong you think I am in the comments. I may or may not respond to them. But hey, if you want to keep these conversations going, you want to be here, we try to do these live streams every night. There's no real set time on the live stream, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. With the notification bell, click to see when I go live. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can make a few shekels, before AI takes my job. Follow me on socials to see when I go live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.